Hello. My name is Dr. Devin Peterson. I guess the Foundation likes keeping good records. I'm supposed to explain my recruitment, using the recordings they took when they reached out to me. If I remember correctly, it was the end of pretty much a normal day. I had just gotten back from work and was looking forward to some leftover lasagna or something like that.
Hello, Dr. Peterson.
Who's there? Sitting on a chair in my dining room was a woman in a gray suit. She watched me coolly as she traced her left hand across a marble pendant on a cord around her neck. It was shaped like a human eye.
You can relax, Dr. Peterson. If I wanted you dead, you'd already be so. And if I was a thief, I would have left by now.
Then what are you?
An opportunity. Please sit down. Of course, if you're so set on whipping out your phone to call the police, I could just kill you and be on my way.
I felt a chill run down my spine. I didn't know why, but I felt my gaze being drawn towards the pendant on her necklace. A slight grin passed over her professional gaze.
Take a seat. Dr. Devin Peterson, PhD graduate at Johns Hopkins University. I find your research in the field of biochemistry to be fascinating, most especially the work you've done on metamorphosis.
Have you been watching me?
Yes, for 6 years.
Why?
We keep tabs on many people, Dr. Peterson. Don't flatter yourself, but in those 6 years you did manage to prove yourself trustworthy and brilliant. I'm here to offer you a career that will make real change in the world.
If that's the case, why did you sneak into my house instead of scheduling an appointment?
I had reason to believe it would be unsafe.
I could have had a gun and shot you when I walked in.
You don't own any guns.
Fine. What is this offer?
I represent the SCP Foundation, a global organization that fights against the greatest threats humanity has ever faced.
What? Global warming? Nuclear war? Some kind of plague?
Huh, that's cute. Believe it or not, a few of those are covers for much more dangerous phenomena. And now that I have your curiosity, read this. I'll be back in the morning to hear your decision.
The woman stood up, and several men wearing military-like body armor and carrying guns emerged from behind curtains, the kitchen counter, and other rooms. They formed a ring around her as she walked to the front door. What will happen if I say yes?
Then you join us in saving the world.
And if I say no?
Then this visit never happened and you go on with your life.
She walked out, surrounded by the armed men. I waited for the sound of some vehicle, but there was nothing. Are you still there? I wanted to check, but it didn't seem like a good idea. It didn't take long for my curiosity to get the better of me, and I started to read.
To Dr. Devin Peterson, congratulations. You have been chosen among thousands of your peers for a higher form of work. There is so much more to the world around you than most human beings would ever dream of. There are creatures, objects, and even locations that do not follow the rules of reality as we understand them. For the survival and protection of humanity, we secure these anonymous entities. We contain them safely, and we protect the common people from their effects while we learn how they function. You were selected to work with us in this because we know you. You are bold, you aren't satisfied with subpar answers to your inquiries, and you are a brilliant researcher. We can promise you work that is unique, knowledge that we don't allow outside our organization, and the chance to make a greater difference than any doctorate could prepare you for. I know you'll find this all a hard sell, so I've provided you one small example of what we deal with. Lay the blank page on your kitchen table by itself.
The next page was blank. I felt stupid doing it, but I pulled it out from the group of papers and laid it flat on my table. At first, nothing happened. But then the paper creased down the middle. It started to move, folding itself into the shape of a child. It stood and stared at me, waving a paper arm and tilting its head. I didn't know what to think. All I could do was stare. It dropped down on all fours and began unfolding itself until it lay flat on the table again. I couldn't see any creases in the paper. It looked just like it had when I set it down. What the? Words appeared on the page in dark bold letters.
You aren't dreaming, and you weren't drugged. Touch the paper.
I hesitated, but reached out and touched with my finger. When I lifted it, a flame leapt out from the spot that I touched. In a matter of seconds, the entire sheet burned away. I brushed the ashes from my table, expecting the surface to be burned, but it looked completely normal. I snatched the next sheet in the stack and started to read.
That little sheet of paper takes 3 days to make, and it represents the more tame end of anomalous activity that we research. Now that you've seen it, you have a choice to make. If you decide to accept our offer, follow the directions on the following pages. If you wish to remain in your life as it stands, tell my associate who will visit you tomorrow morning, and you will be free to go. No matter what decision you make, I expect that you will keep this conversation private until you speak with my associate. Sincerely, number 10.
Below the signature is an emblem, a circle with 3 arrows pointing through it into the center, all outlined with a thick border. Call me crazy, but I immediately started reading the directions to join.